So we'll start by connecting to breath, aligning skull over tail. Feeling how breath may cover that entire corridor through the central axis of our body. And feeling the structure of the head and the brain relax. Remembering that this is not a conceptualizing practice, but one of allowing the body to feel. It's a sensory practice. It's like letting the back of the brain take up this experience of seated, breathing, central. And that'll just be my main reminder offering, is that this is a back of brain activity. This is what am I sensing? What's being registered at any given moment? So it's that process foregrounded, and those cognitive processes kind of backgrounded. We'll work rounds of Kapalabhati, and we'll do one round of Uddiyana. Really simple, brief, because we're going to get into it. So in any seated position you like, Kapalabhati, short, sharp exhalations. When you're ready, we'll begin. That's plenty. Just resume your Ujjayi breath, and we'll prepare for that one round of Uddiyana. Inhaling till fullness. And even inhalation, even holding the breath in this suspension moment, can be a process where our brain and our nervous system and our body are receiving the information. Or it can be a process that is actualized or done to our body, right? So how do we receive the information and receive the sense knowing? Bring the hands forward. We'll do a swift, thorough exhalation. Remain empty. Draw belly back. We're going to set up just a couple twists, and into it we get. So let's go with our left leg on the ground and our right knee pointed toward the sky. And if you all need a little bit more light, if you want me to lighten the room for better seeing, just wave at me or let me know. So hook the left arm around or over that right thigh, and then inhaling, letting that abdomen soften and receive breath, the chest expands and receives breath, the sternum lifts and receives breath. And then as you're exhaling, just make a little suggestive move of the back and the bottom of the brain. It's very gently lifting away from the tail. So the quality of feeling between the bones of the head and the bones of the joint, discernibly lighter and more spacious, because that's a big part of where all of this sensory information is taken up. So it's a really beautiful, simple and beautiful move. All of this back of the neck work as part of a little state change into receiving these impressions. And release. Inhale, come back around, and we'll switch sides. Hello. So we've got the right leg down and the left leg knee pointing up. So this way we're twisting to the left. And release. Inhaling. When we unwind, we'll go directly to our back. And we're going to work a twisted root. I've been doing a lot of just little techniques and things for our inner leg. And we'll cross right over left. That'd be knee, right knee over left knee, and then hook the right foot behind the left calf. Inhaling into the low belly and the low back, and kind of float the chest up just a little bit. Doesn't need to be a lot. Just bringing breath to the inside of that spine. And now exhale, shifting the tailbone. Start to press and kind of rotate those thigh bones one into the other. So you may feel a little inner leg engagement, and then draw the low belly down. Inhaling, relax the leg efforts. And then exhaling, again, curling the tailbone, let the thigh pressure help encourage rotation. And kind of feel which way the thigh bones are rotating. They're kind of stopped in their place because of the position. Pull low belly down. And again, inhaling. Releasing any pressing efforts of the legs. Exhale, shifting the tailbone. Let the pressure of thigh on thigh just encourage a little, can I turn the thigh bone? Can I feel the inner legs? Pull low belly down. And when we release, inhale, set the head down, unwind the legs. And we'll do just those few on the other side. So crossing left leg over right leg, left knee over right knee. Hooking foot behind calf if that works for your knee. Inhaling, head and chest just a little off the floor. And exhaling, letting thigh press against thigh. Drawing the low belly down. All right, next two on our own. Keeping the base of the skull area feeling really fluid, really light. The deep inner part of the hip and the leg is so strongly tied to some of our earliest and most protective reflexes. There's a pretty good chance you could even feel that wiring scheme just as you're engaging the inner legs. You may feel a subtle engagement or contraction around the jaw or the back of the neck. Kind of interesting. Right. We'll be setting up for bridge. You might like to have a block nearby. We will go into half Varasana. So once your feet are set in parallel, distance away from your fingertips, moving on exhale, we'll shift the tailbone, the buttock, the spine off the ground. And the first thing, I just want to place the hands on the hip bones, on the waist, and create a little traction so we can encourage breathing into the chest and the upper back. Just take a few breaths, hands on hips, pressing, so that each of these next few breaths we can remember and feel again that expansion and that lifting of the chest bones away from the hip bones. My estimation is it's a really subtle shift. It's a subtle noticing the movement from doing to the body, right? And letting all of the sensory information be learned and be felt by the brain, by the nervous system, by the body. The internal shift is minute, but the qualitative shift, I feel, is enormous. So releasing the hands from the waist, we'll apply the block under the sacrum. When all that feels well, right hand will reach down to grab right ankle, drawing the right foot back into half Varasana. So option one is remain right here, half Varasana. I'm going to dabble a bit by lifting up my left leg. However, today I'm going to keep my knee bent, my left knee bent. And in fact, I'm actually drawing my left thigh toward my chest. So to describe it, so you don't have to come out of your pose, I'm in bridge. My left thigh, my left leg is bent. The sole of my foot faces the sky. And I'm actively drawing my left thigh toward my chest. Releasing the sole of left foot down to the ground and the sole of right foot down to the ground. Let's change sides. So we'll start with option one. It's for everyone. Left hand grab left ankle, drawing the left foot back, half Varasana. Placing that top of left foot to the ground. So option one means I can remain right here. Got the steadiness and support of my right foot on the ground. Option two is I draw my right thigh, my right bent leg toward chest. And even though I'm actively drawing my thigh toward my chest, I can remain in that sensory way of being in my body. I can allow for that drawing the thigh in, that all the production of sensation occur to me. So I can still maintain that receptive absorption way of being in my body. And I think that's the key part here is that training is a training of being, specifically being in our body, but it's a being process. And we'll set the sole of right foot down. Let's set the sole of left foot down. The really sweet thing is you're just breathing into the low back here in our bridge, is that a being process can be transferred into any of our delights, our hobbies, our activities in life. Pressing away from the block, we'll begin our descent exiting bridge. I recognize that some of us might be playing with some delicate back issues. So once you've lowered, you can always just remain here for several moments. There's no requirement to usher yourself quickly to the next place. But if you're ready to move, we'll turn over and set up a little dolphin. So from our elbows and our knees, because we all know the way, once we've got our setup that we like, exhale, come into Dolphin. We can always take the effort approach. There's nothing wrong about efforting in these poses, right? We could practice engaging lots and lots of muscles and effort and pressing and squeezing and holding and breathing and sending and concentrating. Like, these are wonderful skills. And in the midst of all of those wonderful, useful efforts, you can still get a feel for how every effort is received in the body. It's received in the brain, how every one of those efforts impresses our and informs our experience. So there's this great deal of reception and absorption of everything that we're doing in the moment. When we gently set the knees down, we'll exit Dolphin. And then we'll come up to standing. Good. Chair pose. Inhale, bend knees, reach arms overhead. Exhaling, fold. As we're folding, you can actively reach the core and the trunk toward the ground, or you can soften and relax the brain toward the ground. Monkey. Inhale, chest lifts away from thighs. Exhale, step back, and we'll lower down. I'm going to lower all the way to the ground for this first couple of rounds. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower, downward dog. Inhale, right foot forward, warrior one. Hands to ground. Exhale, step right foot back, and we'll lower, chaturanga. And I am lowering all the way down. Cobra. Inhale, slight elevation, hands, slight press. Exhaling, lower, downward dog. Warrior one, inhale, left foot forward. Hands to ground. Exhale, step back, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, step or lightly jump feet forward, monkey. Exhaling, fold. Bend knees. Inhaling into chair pose. The tailbone drips down, arms lift up. Exhale, stand, hands to heart. We'll do one more together. Chair pose. Inhale, bend knees, reach arms up. Exhaling, fold. Monkey, inhale. Exhale, step or lightly jump back, chaturanga. Inhale, coming up, that might be cobra, it might be upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, left foot forward, warrior one. Hands to ground. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Warrior one, inhale, right foot forward. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, coming up, cobra or upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, step or lightly jump feet forward, monkey. Exhaling, fold. Chair pose, inhale. Exhale to standing. So let's pause right here after these suns. We're going to go to the wall and work forearm balance. So if you're kicking up, forearm balance. If you're not kicking up, dolphin at the wall. There's an added piece here. We're going to separate the legs widely. So I don't think you need a visual. I think everyone is pretty keyed into this. I'll be doing and showing pinch forearm balance with legs apart. All right, so do about like 3, 4, 5 breaths each side, and then we'll regather after this pose. Learn if those inner legs help inform your sense of deep abdomen, deep central pelvis, abdomen. Any connection to those inner legs can help create a lot of lift, lightness. This seems to correlate highly with improved sensitivity. Yes. There it is. Nice. Great. Looks like there's a natural recollection moment. Just take your time. There we go. All right, so regathering at the top of our mat. We do have a chair pose. Inhale, bend knees, reaching arms up. Exhale, fold. Monkey, inhale, lift collar away from lap. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhaling, downward dog. And do a little warrior two work. Inhale, step the left foot forward. Warrior two. Got a little business here, so I've got my strap ready. You may not need it. We'll start with shoulder shrugs. Inhaling into the upper back. And squeezing, finding the top parts of the shoulder blades. Exhale, squeeze and drag down. Inhale, releasing the squeeze. Finding the middle parts of the blades, exhaling, squeeze, drag down. And point number 3, inhale, release the squeeze. Find the bottom tips. Exhaling and squeezing. All right. Moving into archer. Now I'm using a strap, so my left hand will lower the strap to my right. Or left elbow up, right elbow down. How do I open up the back of my brain to this experience? Right? How do I start to determine and start to feel that little, it's a little interior switch, and it's like a big one that takes me from the motoric act of doing, right? The rehearsal, the cognition processes, and it takes me into the sense aware, the being processes. And when you make that switch, and you know you've made that switch, to me, I think you'll find also that there's a global shift in the tone of your entire body. One feels very productive. Again, this is now my interpretation. This is my editorial. It feels very productive, but it also feels kind of myopic. And the sensory, the being process feels much broader, much softer. Okay, we're going to release that. Inhale, reach arms out to the side, reverse warrior. Keep that left thigh, all that inner deep thigh stuff working. Let those muscles keep helping support and suspend you. as we reach the left arm up and over. And feeling the breath in that left side hip, left side low belly. Inhaling, bring the arm, the trunk upright. We'll set the hands down. Exhaling, chaturanga. Inhale, coming up. So just the coming up, whether it's cobra or upward dog, is breathing, getting this whole spine articulating, lengthening the low back, articulating the upper back. Exhaling, downward dog. Inhale the right foot forward, warrior two. Do these three poses on this side, starting with the shoulder shrugs. Inhaling into the upper back, raise, squeeze, bring the tops of the shoulders strongly together. And you can start to get a sense, right? What opens, what moves through the front of the shoulder girdle. Exhale, squeeze, draw it down. But more than the action drawing down, the sense process of absorbing that experience with the body, right? All right. 2 breaths, 2 more points. Inhale. And the middle parts, exhale, squeeze. Drag. And the bottom tips. When we move into archer, it's right elbow up, left elbow down. Because that process of receiving the impression is so much softer and lighter, and there's a spacious quality and sometimes even a boundless quality, a boundarylessness quality, be very discerning that it's not just a spacing out. It's not just a getting spacey. Right? There's a rich sense of embodiment that comes with this being process, being in our body, receiving the impressions of our body, from our body, through our body, right? It's a deeply, like, pulsatingly rich softness. So let's just not confuse it for getting spacey or spaced out, right? So we'll release that for reverse warrior. Inhale, reach arms out to side. And then exhale, reach the right arm, staying deeply connected to those inner right leg muscles. Let them work. It's okay that they work. And inhale, bring that right arm up, over. We'll set the hands down, exhaling chaturanga. We'll step back. Inhale, coming up, upward dog or cobra. Exhaling, downward dog. All right, a little cushion is in order. As we step the left foot forward, setting the right knee down, lunge. So once we feel assured the right knee is well cushioned, we'll start by grabbing the right foot with the right hand, heel to butt lunge. And then a very slight shift, reaching the left hand back, holding the foot now with both hands. Let the heel move away from the butt. So we get more of a kind of the felt sense of the fronts of the shoulders and the chest are getting a little bit spread, opened up. And how do you receive your breath in the chest and the fronts of the shoulders? And release. Inhale, hands to ground. Exhaling, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhaling, downward dog. Inhale the right foot forward. Lunge, so left knee gets lots of padding. Starting with heel to butt, so the left hand draws the left heel closer to the left hip. And then part two, carefully reaching the right hand back. If you can grab the foot with two hands, then allow the heel to drift away from the butt. And release. Inhale, we'll go foot to floor, hands to floor. Exhaling, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhaling, downward dog. All right, we're going to set the knees down and set up for a back bend. I'm going to set up wheel for myself. Probably going to be a pretty prop heavy wheel, but you only wheel once today for me. If you don't want to do wheel, if that's just a little bit too much or you have too much air conditioning blowing in your space, I want you to choose another back bend. You might find some friendly versions in those pigeon iterations. Let me just remind you what those pigeon back bend iterations are. You can set yourself up into one pigeon, you can grab, and you can work like so. There's strap variations. I love all those. But you'll be on the hook for doing both sides, and I'll give a rough estimate of when halftime is. Okay? I'm going to set up wheel, and so I'll be doing 2 rounds of wheel. So, are we ready for this? I hope so. If you're choosing wheel, some of the options are you can have a roll or an object between your legs to engage the inner legs in a really robust way. You could tent blocks against the edge of your wall and create a little more hand support. So let's get started on whatever back bend variation you're doing today. Again, I'm doing wheel. You could also do something like a pigeon back bend. Because I'll be doing a couple of rounds, let's give it a good 5 to 8 breaths per round. Okay. So if you're following along with me in wheel, we'll start in bridge. If you're using blocks against the wall, have your head between the blocks. Make sure you push and check that the blocks won't wiggle on you. We'll start in bridge and we'll end in bridge. Five to 8 breaths. Each round or each side that you're doing. We'll kind of fly at our own pace. How do we remain in sensory, receiving the impressions of the pose? How do we remain in that mode, that process? So consider ourselves about halfway. So if there's another side, there's another round. If you are doing wheel, let bridge be a recovery. I know it It's a working recovery, but let those leg muscles support your spine before you lower and completely exit. Sometimes the slow release of those big gluteal engines can really help the back. Sometimes when we do things really fast, like fast release, sometimes it creates a little more few more artifacts. All right, I'm just going to guess that we have exited. And again, if your back delicate, if your head pressure is a delicate scenario, just remain lying until you feel that the pressure, everything feels fluid and ready. So when we turn over and press up, we'll work as a back release, a variation on downward dog. Whew. We've done it before. I'll describe it and show it. We'll bend one leg and back step. So creating a kind of a really broad side bend. Okay? So I'll talk us in. So I'm going to bend my right knee. And I even think I like pitching my toes in a little bit, like my right foot toes are turned to face 11 on the floor clock, 11 o'clock. And then I step my left foot back, way behind my right heel. I just kind of sink my hips back, the whole sinking of the hips back, the reaching through that left heel will help us access this this left side flank. I am wrapping the shoulders a lot. I'm pushing very strongly with my right foot, so I keep tenting my entire rib cage toward the sky. I'm not collapsing down, but I'm kind of floating and releasing. My body lifts up a little bit. Let's do the other side. We'll set the left foot down. The left knee is bent. And as we back step our right foot, maybe you can start to feel this as an iteration of lunge, a lunge with a side bend. There you go. You got it. Yep, and I let that left knee bend a lot. Now, if I don't feel this on the right side, just reposition the right foot. You may have to walk it much more deeply to the left or back. I have to wrap the shoulders. Maybe wrapping the shoulders is sufficient to feel that deep right side stretch. And when we step out of it, we can lower down, and let's have a seat Actually, let's lie back, please. For a happy baby. So I'm going to do this half at a time, letting the left leg be down. First, grab the sole of the right foot with the right hand. And just another iteration of lunge. I'm bringing my thigh quite close to my right side ribs. Now, if I push a bit back, my foot against my hand, if I make my leg kind of active, I can kind of cause some working usefulness to occur in the inner right leg, the really deep part of the inner right leg, groin. When we release, we'll do the other side, setting the right leg down. Grabbing the left foot with the left hand. Half happy baby. And release for Shavasana. Just keep discovering that mode of reception where we allow the brain, the back of the brain, if you will, to take up and to acknowledge all that we've done in the past hour. So when we notice where there's freedom in the body, where there's fluency, where there's ease, where there's motion, just allowing the brain, allowing the back of the brain to receive those impressions. You're welcome to remain resting as long as you wish. If you want to mobilize, bend knees, turn to a side, and press to seated. Thanks. Namaste. Have a great rest of your day. This was wheelie fun.